Hey everybody, welcome back to Dravin's Den. I'm your host Stan. I want to do something different tonight. I kind of mentioned it in the little promo post I was putting up, but I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about something, and it really hit home. It really speaks to how people begin before they go on and make history. Because there are a lot of people out there who grew up to be engineers and scientists and explorers and great generals and colonels and all the big things that we aspire to. But there are some people that grow up in this situation and it sticks with them for life. And it really forms how they see the world, how they see people, and how they see themselves, most importantly. So, like I said, I was talking to a friend the other day. She's a grandmother. And somewhere in the conversation, she said something that stuck with me. Not in a dramatic way, not in a loud way, just in a quiet, tired kind of truth. She told me she feels like she's raising her grandchildren, not because she planned to, but because her daughter stepped away. Not completely gone, just gone enough. She said it feels like she didn't just become a grandmother, she became a parent again. And she didn't choose it. And as she was talking, there wasn't anger in her voice as much as there was weight, responsibility, mostly exhaustion. Love mixed with something harder to name. And it made me realize something. We don't talk about this enough. Not really. So tonight, we're going to. This is Draven's Den. The child side. Some kids don't remember the exact moment everything changed, because it doesn't always happen at once. It's not always a goodbye. It's not always a final conversation. Sometimes it's just a missed pickup, a canceled visit, a not today that slowly turns into not anymore. For a child, that kind of change doesn't come with explanation. It comes with questions. Take Marcus, for example. Marcus was 9 years old when he started noticing. He remembers sitting on the porch, still wearing his backpack, waiting. His mom had said she'd be there at 5. By 8:30, his grandmother told him to go get ready for bed. He didn't cry. He didn't throw a fit. He just asked one question. Is she coming tomorrow? She didn't. And no one really explained why. That's how hard it is and starts for a lot of kids. Not with a dramatic ending, but with a quiet shift. And children don't analyze that shift the way adults do. They absorb it. They turn it inward. Lena was 14. When someone at school asked her why she lived with her grandparents, she laughed it off in the moment. Said something quick. Changed the subject. But later that night she wrote in her journal, everyone else gets chosen. I got left. That's the part people don't always see. Because on the outside, those kids might be okay. They might be cared for. They might even be loved deeply. But inside, there's a question that doesn't go away. Why wasn't I enough for you to stay? And it doesn't matter how much logic you try to apply to it later. That question starts forming before logic ever shows up. And it sticks. There's something else that happens. A split. Because those children love the people raising them. That love is real. It's steady. It's earned. But right next to that love is longing. Like Jared is in his 30s now. He was raised entirely by his grandparents. He says he had a good childhood. a stable one. But when he talks about it, he always pauses before finishing that sentence. Because there's another part. He said, I was safe. I was loved. But I always felt like I was filling in for something that wasn't there. And then he said something that hits even harder. Whenever my dad showed up, I dropped everything for him. Even when he knew he wouldn't stay. That's the contradiction. The people who stay become your foundation. But the ones who leave still hold power. Because they're the ones you're trying to understand. You're trying to reach them. Trying to prove something to them. And that leads to moments that shape you in ways you don't even realize at the time. Like Tanya was 11. Every time her mom said she was coming, Tanya got ready. Hair done, perfect favorite outfit, waiting by the window. And after a few times of her mom not showing up, her grandmother gently told her, "Hey, you don't have to get ready every time." Tanya looked at her and said, "But what if this time she means it?" That sentence, that hope, that's what makes it so hard. Because it doesn't go away easily. Over time, those kids adapt. People call them mature, independent, strong. But what they really mean is they learned early not to rely on people showing up. Andre said it best. I stopped expecting people to show up. Not because I'm negative. I just like being right. That kind of thinking doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from repetition. From learning that hope can hurt. So you lower it. Or remove it completely. And those patterns don't stay in childhood. They follow into adulthood, into relationships, into friendships, into how someone sees themselves, fear of abandonment, difficulty trusting consistency, or the opposite, becoming the most reliable person in every room because you never want someone else to feel what you felt. That's the child side. That's what it can look like. But there's another side to that coin. So now we shift. The parent side. Because this story doesn't exist on one side. And understanding it fully means stepping into a space that isn't always comfortable. No one grows up planning to be the parent who steps away. No one dreams about that. But life doesn't always unfold in a way that gives you time to prepare. Kayla was 19 when she had her child. And she remembers thinking something she didn't feel safe saying out loud. I don't know how to do this. People told her, you'll figure it out. That instinct will kick in. That things would fall into place. But inside, she felt overwhelmed, unprepared, scared. Her mother stepped in to help. At first, it was temporary. Then it became routine. And eventually, it became the structure. Kayla didn't disappear. She didn't stop caring. But she stopped being the one in control. And over time, that distance grew. That's how it happens sometimes. Not as a decision, but as a slow transition. And in that transition, a narrative forms. They're better off here. They have more stability. They'll have a better life this way. Derek said the exact same thing. He left his son with his parents while working multiple jobs. He said, I told myself I was doing the right thing. And maybe in some ways he was. But then he added, I didn't realize the right thing would still hurt him. That's the part that complicates everything. But sometimes both things are true. The child may be safer, more stable, better provided for, and still affected deeply by the absence. Then there's guilt. And guilt doesn't always bring people closer. Sometimes it does the opposite. Maria used to visit her daughter regularly. then less, then even less. When people asked why, she said, every time I saw her, she looked at me like I was supposed to stay. And I didn't know how to explain why I couldn't. So I stopped coming as much. Not because the love disappeared, but because the weight of that love became too heavy to carry in that moment. And this is where the conversation gets complicated. Because society is quick to label absent, deadbeat, failure. And sometimes those labels apply. But sometimes they don't tell the whole story. Because behind some of those situations are people who were never shown how to parent. People who were raised in chaos. People dealing with trauma, addiction, instability. People trying to survive something that they were never equipped to handle. That doesn't erase the impact. It doesn't undo what the child feels. But it adds context. It makes the story more human. Trevor talked about what it felt like to stay in the background. He said, I went to his school events. I stood in the back. I watched my dad be his dad. And I didn't step in because I didn't feel like I had the right. That's a different kind of pain. Being present enough to see what you're missing, but distant enough to not feel like you belong in it. And time doesn't pause. Children grow. Questions form. And eventually they get asked out loud. Elena remembers the day her son asked her why she didn't raise him. She told him the truth. She said she was scared. That she didn't think she could give him what he needed. And he looked at her and asked, so you just didn't try? There's no easy answer to that. No perfect explanation. Just a moment where two perspectives collide, and both carry weight. Then comes something that doesn't always show up right away. Regret. James said, I thought I had time to fix it. I thought I'd get my life together first, and then come back. But by the time I was ready, he didn't need me anymore. That's the reality people don't always talk about. Time moves forward whether we are ready or not. And some gaps become harder to close the longer they exist. No one really wins in this kind of story. Not completely. Children carry questions. Why didn't you stay? Was I not good enough? And parents carry one just as heavy. Why couldn't I? Some find their way back to each other. Some don't. Forgiveness is the key to that. Children and parents alike have to understand each other. In the children's case, they have to understand their parents are human. They make mistakes. They were basically, in some cases, they were basically kids when they had them. And they were still trying to fix their broken selves as they were growing up with their own children and still making mistakes. It's a messy world, guys. It's not cut and dry. It's not black and white. And I'll be honest with you, all these people on social media that are quick to just beat your head in because of their own opinions don't make it any damn better. So if you're doing that, knock it off. Understand that we are all going through this crap together. And we got to support each other. Don't just constantly remind them of all their mistakes. Say, hey, I see you're struggling. I see you're doing some things that just, even by basic societal norms, is not right. What is wrong? How can I help? And if I can't help, maybe we can figure out somebody that can. Sometimes that's all it takes. But if there's anything to take from this, it's this. Presence matters. Consistency matters. Trying matters. Not trying, you're not going to hear from them. You're not, kids, you're not going to hear from parents. Parents, you're not going to hear from kids if they're not trying. Open up communication. Take notice. The absence of those things doesn't just disappear over time. It shapes people on both sides. And understanding both perspectives doesn't erase the pain, but it might change what we do next. If you've lived this story from either side, as the child, as the parent, or as the one who stepped in when no one else did, your story matters. The family thread exists for that reason, to give these stories a place to live, to be heard, to be understood, before they fade into silence. You can reach out at dravinsden@gmail.com, because history isn't just what's written in books. It's what lived in families. This has been Dravin's Den. Stay curious and take care of each other.